Hey, welcome back. This is the second of Matt's chats. And today I'm really excited, actually. I don't get excited very often, but I'm really excited today because uh, come January, I was listening to the radio and I think it was January or February. It was early in the year. And this track came on the radio. It was called Guns for Hire. And I thought, who the fuck are these guys? These are going to be the next thing. It was like going back in time. Anyway, I found out they were called Tailgunner. And I looked at it, I thought, I've got to get into these guys. I got in touch with the bass player of the band on site, and unbelievable. The guys have got swagger, they got attitude, they got it all going for them. So it's with great pleasure that I can introduce you to the bass guitarist of Tailgunner, the the man himself. And in fact, I tell you, let him introduce yourself. The one and only Mr. Thomas Hewson.
Hey man, hey, good to speak to you.
Yeah, with an intro like that. So how come you're in on a Friday night? It's a Friday night. Why aren't you out?
Because I'm off to Birmingham early tomorrow morning to rehearse with the rest of the guys.
Uh-huh. Is it
So
going
I'd rather.
well?
Sorry,
Is it going well at the moment?
it is going well. Yeah, we're starting to get ready for next year, and we have some new songs and all that good stuff. So starting to put everything in place, and then we come back like a week into the year. We're in Nottingham on the 7th of January. So all systems go right from the off. So yeah, just starting to warm up for that stuff now.
Oh, they'll love you in Nottingham. A lot of lovely girls in Nottingham. I don't know if it's still 6-1, the outrage, but they'll love you in Nottingham. We know they're
Yeah,
going to. They'll lap you up. They will.
was in Nottingham actually, so it's going to be good to be back.
So tell me about the sort of thinking behind this band. From what I'm making, you created this yourself. It's your brainchild. You thought to yourself, I want to put together a kick-ass heavy metal band, and I love the fact that you call it heavy metal. You're not ashamed to say that. You know
No, it is.
exactly, and you've got a real swagger about you. I love that. And I was saying to someone yesterday. I was saying that I've missed several waves. I've been too late. I really want to be on this wave. I think you're creating something. You're creating a buzz everywhere I look. There's something like "Together we are the revolution" or something. And I thought, yeah,
Uh, well,
that's it.
this all right. Like it's none of anything that we do would happen without the people that love it. So if we're talking about like a heavy metal revolution, we're not going to come along and say that we're it, but with the people behind the band and the people into what we do, then together we are the fucking revolution.
Exactly that. But you started off. You had to put together a band, and that's always the hardest thing to find like-minded people. How did you go about that?
In every way possible, really. Like I moved to London um, to try and put the band together, and then quickly realized that even here is going to be very difficult because it seems like a lot of the guys kind of locally are more into it's like a 70s thing now, and maybe that ties into like the new wave of classic rock thing, which is cool, but it's not quite my bag.
Mhm.
And like I remember I went to see a gig. There's a guitar shop that you might know called 66 Sounds.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, I went to see a band play there, and they were cool and everything. It was like very, very kind of early 70s. And they played like fucking 5 grand Gibson guitars, and the singer had like a purple suit on and stuff. And I was like, it's cool, but like,
All the gear, no idea.
yeah, like it wasn't my thing. I want to see a band fucking yeah, tear the roof off places and not apologize for any of it. That's my kind of thing. So I started to look for the rest of the guys actually just before moving to London, and a lot of it was social media, and some of it was going around in the city and putting posters up in like metal bars and places like the Dev and Crowbar and
Mhm.
car shops and things. And it took fucking from when I started looking to completing the lineup was almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
it
some
took a lot.
dedication. That's some dedication. And you've actually got them from kind of all around the world, haven't you? I mean, you've got them from Holland and from Italy. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. So our two guitarists, Pat is Dutch and Zach is Italian. I mean, both of them were in the UK prior to joining the band.
Yeah.
They didn't move here for the band. But yeah, it's cool. Like we have a good mix of nationalities. Like three of us are English and an Italian and a Dutch, which means it's definitely easier when we go to Europe
Yeah.
because of and stuff. We can take in merch on European passports, which is brilliant. You know, say to people, no, 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 it's not merch. We're not making any money. This is his clothes. He just really likes this fucking t-shirt.
He's wearing
Okay,
15 t-shirts or
yeah,
jackets.
you go.
I know, I love it. I was watching a video last night. I was just, I mean, looking at some of your stuff, and you're doing the pre what for the album, and you're doing some shooting up in town. You got on a turnpike lane, got on a train, and went up there, and a great vibe about you. And it actually took me back, years ago when I first started playing, and that excitement, and you can't really match that. And you guys have got so much going for you. I don't want to blow too much smoke up your ass, but I really, really like what you're doing, and you've got this energy, this vibe, this swagger, which people are going to take notice of. You're going to put a few people's noses out of joint, but I think you know that, and I think you kind of like
Well,
that as well.
pleasure in that.
I've seen some of your posts on social media, quite outspoken. I was very impressed, very
I'm
impressed with them.
better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't give a fuck. They don't know what they're doing. I can tell you that for nothing. I'll be on the arse end of this industry for long enough. But you did something about people talking about sequences and stuff, and you went to town. And you said, "Well, why shouldn't we use this? We're not, you boomers out there want to go back to classics." And I thought that was really good. It was a very brave thing to say, but it was a good
It's
thing to say.
interesting because as far as Tailgunner goes, at the moment, like I wouldn't use backing tracks
Mm.
or any of that sort of stuff because it doesn't represent what we do.
Yeah,
At the same time, there are bands out there where it's like if you have certain parts that you can't play live and it's gonna make the show better, then yeah, why not? And the thing with that post and what I said was really it's more a dig at the people saying like, well, my band don't do that. And it's like,
yeah,
cool, man,
yeah, yeah.
fuck. Like, you know,
Good. I
it's
read
not
it
an
right. Yeah.
backing tracks.
No, that's great. I mean, that's what I thought. I'm glad you said that, but I like that, and I think it's if a lot more people were honest about it, and I've been around a lot longer than you. I've seen a lot of things and met a lot of people, but I'm always impressed that people, are the real deal. And I see with you guys that you are the real deal. There's none of this. I mean, I can remember seeing Guns N' Roses when they first came over, the attitude that were with them, and there was that there. I seem to remember I seen them thrown up in the outside the marquee. Someone had given them a curry or something. But they came up with this kind of attitude. The first Donington appearance, they had that kind of like, who the fuck were these guys? And you've got that about you, and you probably know that people, as I said, you will put a few people's noses out of joint, but fuck them because this is rock and roll all the time should be evolving. It should be
Supposed
developing.
to be off. Otherwise, if you don't piss anyone off, then
You're not doing it right.
wrong. Yeah, exactly. I mean, any Guns N' Roses comparisons is like the biggest compliment that you can pay us because they're my favorite band. So I'll take those all day long.
No, good, and that's the kind of vibe I get.
That's why there's a certain aspect to us, even though we play heavy metal. Like there's a hell of a lot of rock and roll in what we do, and that's probably because of my love for those kind of bands.
And it's interesting. I mean, and as I said, from perspective of someone so young as you are, to have that knowledge and to have that understanding. I'm actually speaking to Cassidy Paris tomorrow with her dad, and they're in the same band together. But she's
Okay.
got an understanding of rock that she's had inbred in her, and I think it's great to see this kind of generation. It's not about how old you are or how young you are. It's about getting what it's about, getting rock and roll and really understanding it. And you do, you guys do. And I just really excited. You've just signed a deal to Fireflash Records. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
And you're recording in a chapel. Is that right?
Well, we already made the album. That was done in January 2021, but we made the debut album a year before we even went public. So long before we signed a record deal. So that's the first album that the label will now be putting out. But it was always going to come out next year, whether we got a deal or not. It's just now we're more fortunate to be able to have that framework in place where we have this help in getting it out there.
And you got Marcus on board, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. Wazzy, he's worked with fucking everyone in this genre, so
Yeah.
it's quite cool actually. to have him on board. And yeah, he's a lovely guy and one of the best at what he does.
Yeah, you're good. You're good to have him. I seem to be worked with Accept. I think back in the day. I think if I'm correct.
Yeah, except Halloween, Blind Guardian, and then newer bands like Sabaton and stuff. So it is in as far as kind of I guess power metal goes, he's seen it all really.
Yeah. So I mean, that's exciting to look forward to next year. I mean, 2023 is going to be a great year for you. But what I want to know is how does Thomas spend his downtime? What does he do when he's not rocking? What keeps him going?
Ah man, if I'm not doing something music related, then drunk or asleep.
Two good things to do. Both very
Yeah,
admirable. Glad you said that. 'Cause I'm gonna take a drink. I was interviewing
it comes,
Gypsy Pistolero's lead the other day. He doesn't drink, so I couldn't have a drink, but now I can. So I can have one. No, he said, I won't sleep though. I promise I won't sleep.
well, I mean, it just even when I try to have time away from it, there's always fucking something like every single day. It's like, oh shit, now this needs doing, this needs doing. It's like why when you said that you were free to chat tonight, because obviously we were going to do Sunday, I was like, okay, because if I speak to you tonight, then I have all of Sunday, apart from like a meeting in the morning that I'm doing for something, just to sit and work on music. I think it's funny, but the least kind of music related work I do is actually writing the music now because there's so much other shit going on. So my downtime is actually trying to work on new stuff. But other than that, I mean, you know me, I love football. So
Yeah, I was going to say Everton. Everton, I see. Everton fan.
yes, fucking Toffees.
I like that because we share a passion. I mean, I'm a Spurs fan, and it's kind of like, we never win anything. You're a bit like us.
No, but the thing is, though, like I always thought, say maybe a decade ago, that Everton and Spurs were very kind of level teams in the fact that they were always sort of going for fifth or sixth, and we had similar levels of players and that sort of thing. And then you guys just fucking went right above, and we haven't been able to do that.
No, the most impressive thing we've got is we've got a brewery that does beer that pours up from the top. I mean, that's the most impressive thing that's happened at Tottenham for a while, actually.
You got Champions League final though. I'd take Champions League final.
You want to talk about the hardest gig ever? I had to gig that night. I had a gig. I had a ticket to go to Madrid, and our band was playing, and the show goes on. So I played the gig, and I had to sit and watch the game beforehand with loads of West Ham, Arsenal, and Chelsea fans. And then after that, and get on and play. People say, "What's the hardest gig you've ever done?" That was the hardest gig I've ever had to do ever in my life. But there you go. Just so you know.
Like it doesn't matter what else is going on. If the gig's already booked, then do the fucking gig.
That is it. Always. So what inspires you? I mean, for songwriting, I guess you are the main songwriter. You put it together. I mean, your singer's got some pipes, hasn't he? God.
Yeah, he's the best new metal singer in the world.
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're lucky to have Craig. For sure.
He's lucky to have you, because if you're the main writer, kind of with that Steve Harris kind of thing, bass player writing the songs, is that where it comes from?
I mean, Steve is like an influence. My biggest musical inspiration, which probably doesn't come across so much musically in Tailgunner, but like as I said, Guns N' Roses is my favorite band. Axl is my favorite musician, and someone certainly inspires me a lot. And then like punk rock as well. I love the Misfits. And it's basically like the thing for me is I was into rock and roll for a long time before I got properly into heavy metal. Like my first gig was Maiden, so I was always there. But it wasn't until probably like 5 years ago that I really started to get like properly into metal and started listening to the rest of like the New Wobbum and Halloween as well. Had a huge effect on me. So that's like the musical side of things. Guns N' Roses is definitely a lot of the attitude. And like I grew up at the perfect time for Airborne, because like just the summer that I got into rock and roll and heavy metal and all the rest of it was when Airborne kind of broke in the UK. So it was like because those guys are like a decade older than me.
I met them on their first tour when they first came over. Yeah. I went up to Oxford to meet them. Lovely guys. Got on with Joel like a house on fire. He said to me, "Yeah, come to the Borderline. Come and see us at the Borderline." from when they played to Oxford to Borderline, they got so big. He phoned me up and said, Matt, that tickets, I can't give them to you now because Roadrunner had taken them on and they were signed now. I was off the guest list and Airborne were on the way.
Yeah, it's so cool to have a band come up like when I was a kid and first getting into this sort of music that have been able to do it properly and do it to the scale that they have as well. So that's a huge inspiration. I met them. It was the release party for the Bone Shaker
Yeah, I saw
album.
that. I saw that on Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah, which was cool. And I was very, very, very drunk because I went to the bar beforehand. I was like, "Fuck! If I'm gonna meet Airborne, and I want to have a few drinks beforehand." And so we got drunk at Crowbar and went to the hotel, the Karma Sanctum in Soho, where the thing was going on. And then they took us downstairs into this room. They said, "Oh, by the way, it's a free bar." And because the hotel is like co-owned by Iron Maiden or a couple of Iron Maiden, they sell every Trooper beer. So it's like, okay, so I'm already drunk. At this point, I'm just really excited because I'm going to hear the new Airborne album and get to meet the band. And yeah, so a lot of Trooper was drank as well. And
the
it's
number of
funny
the
because I
yeast,
remember, yeah.
Oh, great! Listen. Is there anything out there that people don't know about you? I mean, I want to try and get you to. I mean, obviously, you're going to do it yourself, but get you to people out there to understand about Thomas. There's something that it doesn't come across that perhaps when you're playing, it won't come across, but that you'd like people to know about you.
No, nothing that I would like them to know.
Fair enough.
I'm one of those people that everything that I am that I try and put across.
The real deal, ladies and gentlemen. This guy. So let's move the time frame forward. So you have got on December the 9th, if I'm correct, Crash Dive EP coming out.
Yes, that's right. So we put this EP out in the summer in June as an independent release, and that was a 4-track with the 4 singles we had done up to that point.
Okay.
And since signing the deal, now it's been reissued. It's going to be an MCD digipack, so It's going to be like a fucking CD. It now has 5 tracks, so it's got the new single "White Death" on it.
Oh.
It comes with like an 8-page photo and lyric booklet, so it's a proper full release of the EP that we put out independently. So 500 copies and available all around the world.
Wow, and you're going to sign them all, of course.
No, I don't think we'll see most of them, to be honest, because we don't do our own merch. So a lot of them are probably going to be sitting in Germany until they sell. I'm not sure in terms of shops where they'll be going. I think that the label has their own store as well.
Stay out, let them get on with that. Stay out of that. What we want to know is when people can see Tailgunner next year. When can they see them play? That's what people want to know.
So that's going to be in Nottingham, like I mentioned, 7th of January. That's the Tap and Tumbler. So I've always
Tap and Tumbler.
Yes, free entry as well. I've always liked starting years off in bands with like just small, like relaxed fucking gigs. You know what I mean? And then it's
fucking right. Nothing wrong with being a pub band. That's what we get called all the time. Nothing wrong with being a pub band.
Pubs are fun to play, man. I mean, we're starting to get big enough now that we get to play on stages. But the first tour, we were like on a flat floor anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a luxury, even if it's just like half of 6 inches or something up above, and you just give that feeling. You're there. Just that little bat when the old drunken port storms forward with his beer. He doesn't quite spill it all over you. It's just that, stand back, mate.
Oh, we do tend to launch beers into the crowd.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see you live. I was going to come and see you at the Dead. We were playing that night, sadly. I'd like to come and I'll definitely come. If I can't go up to the Nottingham one, I'll definitely try and catch you at some gig next year.
Yeah, dude. We'll have a UK tour anyway in October next year. So we'll be all over the place and back in London as well.
I'll try and catch you when you're drunk or asleep. I know. I mean, it's just nice to actually get someone between the two, right? There, actually, Thomas.
Catch me either side of the show. Then there's a high chance.
It's like a gremlin. Don't feed him after 9 o'clock. Don't give him water, and he'll be all right. It's tremendous. I'm really excited. Are you looking forward to the World Cup? You gonna watch any of the games?
Probably not as excited as I usually am. Actually, like there's been a strange kind of. I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, obviously, I'm an Everton fan, and there's some similarities, I suppose, to Liverpool fans with the whole, Scouse not English and that. So
It's a
I
beautiful
like
city. It's a beautiful
international,
city. Yeah.
but I might not even watch the group games because it's in the winter as well, and all the rest of it. It's just like the World Cup's such a summer thing, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure everyone will start to get excited if they get to like the semi-final or something. But
Yeah, the
let's
same
see.
old, the same old thing again. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to be heartbroken in winter as opposed to being heartbroken in summer, I suppose.
It's true.
It's a
Yeah,
different vibe.
I think Southgate and this team have peaked at the Euros. I can't see us getting to another final, to be honest.
It depends whether they keep the air conditioning on the stadiums. I think there might be
But I
some
was,
wicked plans so all the Middle Eastern teams like Iran and that and Qatar
yeah.
do really
I
well
mean,
because it's too hot.
I heard that even training because the players keep getting sunburned.
There you go. There's method
Yeah.
in their madness. They know too much. Oh, well, listen, Thomas, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. I'm really excited for you guys. I think you've got something going on for you. And ladies and gentlemen, seriously, the album will be coming out next year. Is there a title? Can we keep it secret, or is it or
Yeah, the album's called Guns for Hire.
Guns for Hire? And that's what it's going to be called. And you can either catch Thomas awake, asleep, or drunk, or on stage. One of those three things. 7th of January at the Tap and Tumbler in Nottingham. Crash Dive, the EP is coming out on December the 9th. And believe you me, these guys are going to be big. And remember where you heard it first. Tailgunner. They are going to be flying the flag for British heavy metal right across the world. God bless you, Thomas. You take care, all right?
Okay. Speak to
See you
you.
soon.
Cheers.
All right,
Have a
then.
good
Bye-bye.
weekend.
And you.